What exactly happened to you, man?
I was in a toxic relationship.
To say the least,
There was a lot.
toxic
There was a
relationship.
lot of things that led up to the attack that people don't understand. I was silenced back then during the court trials. I had to go to trial. She had to go to trial.
Bringing you back to the night when your wife comes into your bedroom. Now, are you sleeping when this happens? When she decides to knife you? I mean, what exactly? Can you remember that day? Like, you got to have a little bit of PTSD from that. Oh, you passed
Not
out
from being drunk, from being tired. There's a difference.
Uh-huh.
Didn't hardly had anything to drink.
Sure.
I mean, they don't serve alcohol at Denny's.
Okay.
So when you had breakfast, coffee, and went home, extremely exhausted. Then they try to twist it. It's like, no, we weren't drunk.
I don't think it would matter if you were drunk or not. The woman came in and cut your penis off. Yo, it's your host, Phil Wham Bam Benamino. It's another Wham Bam Wednesday, baby. The show about ordinary people who have done extraordinary things. And as always, first, man, subscribe to the podcast. Go down there, click on it, and make sure you give some comments, man. We got to break all these algorithms there with YouTube. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. We want to hear from you. Today's guest, we have actually a hero in the house. This guy was in the military. He's a veteran. He's lost his toes. He's lost some other private things. In fact, his wife cut off that's right, snipped off his penis, his sausage, as they say, So we're going to hear from him. We're going to listen to his story. We're going to find out. We got John Bobbitt in the house today. John, what's up, baby?
Hey, how's it hanging there, Phil?
How's it hanging? No, mine's hanging pretty good. How about you, though? The question is, how are you hanging? No pun intended.
I left mine at home.
You left yours at home? Oh, God, that's funny as hell. You must have had a ton of jokes. John, tell the viewers real quick, please, because I know some of the younger generation doesn't even know about this, but what exactly happened to you, man?
I was in a toxic relationship, I guess.
To say the least,
there was a lot of things that led up to the attack that people don't understand. I was silenced back then during the court trials. I had to go to trial. She had to go to trial.
And this is your wife at the time.
Yeah, we met at a Marine Corps ball in Quantico, Virginia.
Okay.
And
big Marine, ooh-ah.
Yeah, she was from Venezuela. She was here on a student visa, and she was working as a nanny at the time, and that's when I met her. And we dated, and her mother came into town, and they got in a conversation at a restaurant that her student visa was getting ready to expire, so that the solution would be getting married.
Get married, sure.
But I think I was a target. It's like I was this immigrant who came from Venezuela looking for a husband. Or
yeah, but you were a good-looking guy.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah. So I mean,
everything's great in the beginning to me and her. We had a good relationship and all that stuff, but I think everything fell apart because we got married, we got too much too fast, and we're hanging out with rich people, and we didn't have much of an education and skills, and she went from being a nanny to her boss. Her boss got her license to work at the salon.
Okay.
So she got promoted, and I think the salon was a bad environment for her because it was in the DC area. So if we talk about narcissism, and I think there was a lot of women who were married to judges and politicians, and that kind of thing. I think there was a lot of narcissism that rubbed off on her, and she became more, I think, modernized, Americanized modern woman compared to the traditional woman that she was.
Mm-hmm.
She became.
She had a good relationship at first. Your marriage was good.
First, yeah. I worked, she worked, and we had. But there's a lot of outside interference, family and friends that caused disruption. It's probably my fault too, because I had people staying with us. It shouldn't have been, because we were newlyweds, and we should have been working on each other instead of having a lot of interference.
Gotcha.
And
so you recognize that. You recognize
there was a distraction in trying to have a healthy marriage, a healthy relationship developing.
Yeah, but what leads to a woman to go grab a kitchen knife to slice off your penis?
I call it painful rain.
Yeah.
Rejection, abandonment, infidelity, and neglect. So those 4 things is deep-seated emotional pain. And if a woman, it gets like a love, attention, affection, it gets built up to suspicion. Suspicious minds. I was supposed to I'd sing it, but I'm not a good singer. So I got my brother. He's a real good country artist. He performs Grand Ole Opry. He opens up. We're gonna talk about some that artist.
Nice.
JB Earring. You look him up. He's my brother. We never got along, but
really
love his singing.
Okay, all right.
He's like an Elvis Presley. But anyways, suspicious mind. Develop a suspicion. If you don't love your woman, you got to love your woman. You got to love your woman.
Sure.
I mean, and have respect, attention. Like I said, so when you start a relationship, I think it has a lot to do with chemistry. Develop a chemistry.
Sure.
And compatibility, and you develop a connection.
Right.
Chemistry, compatibility, connection. So you develop a healthy relationship, trust, honesty, loyalty, all that stuff. You just work together and keep it outside interference. Now, I like to say, it's on my cane. It says, the stronger a man's soul, the deeper he learns to love. So you strengthen your soul to learn to love more deeply. And that's what we all need to learn how to do. I mean, sure. I'm not there. I mean, I wish I was
still learning
the love. You know? I mean, and you go to back in the old days when you go to New York, it's like say hi to somebody on the street. Yo, what's up? Fuck you, fuck you.
Right.
It's like, and I think it's everywhere I go in the world, you see a lot of that now. A lot of hate, animosity. Lack of trust. There's
why do you think that is? I mean, in all honesty, because you're right.
Where's the kindness?
The world is changing, because everybody feels like, they're entitled to stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless of their situation. And I just don't get that because, God put you on this earth. You got jobs and duties in my mind is to, go out there and help others. Go out there and be something to the world that, you're giving back. Type of thing. But everybody seems to sometimes they just want to take. They just want to take.
That's
they don't want to give.
Narcissism.
Yeah.
It's all about me. Studying narcissism, like there's 14 different types from mild to extreme.
You learned a lot about this.
So
going through this.
You can learn a lot now, because you have your phone. You learn as much as you want at your own pace.
Right.
The knowledge is there. If you want, I like learning every day. Podcasts, YouTube.
Right.
A lot of reading, yeah.
Bringing you back to the night when your wife comes into your bedroom. Now, are you sleeping when this happens? When she decides to knife you? I mean, what exactly can you remember that day? Like, you got to have a little bit of PTSD from that. Oh, you passed out.
From being drunk, from being tired. There's a difference. Didn't hardly had anything to drink.
Sure.
I mean, they don't serve alcohol at Denny's.
Okay.
So when you had breakfast, coffee, and went home, extremely exhausted. Then they try to twist it. It's like, no, we weren't drunk.
I don't think it would matter if you were drunk or not. The woman came in and cut your penis off.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. That's not a normal way of showing your love or caring to your husband.
Well, I broke up with her. I told her I wanted a divorce on Sunday.
Okay.
And the attack happened on Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning, 3 a.m. So she was supposed to be moving out. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
So she's...
But I told her I was going to move out because I found my own place. So I said, no, I'll move out. So basically, she was setting a trap because she didn't want a divorce.
Gotcha.
She was crying. She said that she didn't believe in divorce. She wanted to have a family. Get her. She had one more year left to get her citizenship. Immigration is like, well, you got if you're married, you're supposed to be married and living together for 5 years, and then you get your naturalization. So she had one more year left to go, and I told her I wanted a divorce, and she was upset. That's when my friend arrived on Sunday, and he knocked on the door, and so she said, "Okay, well, I'll keep I'll keep the apartment. You move out. I'll help you, and I try to be cordial, try to be helpful. It just wasn't working out.
Sure.
Because of the silent treatment. 2 months. She just wouldn't talk to me because of the nightclub. She wanted me to work across the street at the nightclub.
What were you doing at the nightclub?
Bouncing.
Bouncing, okay. So working the club.
Security.
Late hours at night, probably, yeah.
It's pretty solid, back then.
Well, you're a Marine.
Soft now, but
Marine, man, of course,
yeah. So kind of looked like Van Damme, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay, oh yeah.
We had the same look,
same okay.
and I got that a lot. So,
she didn't like you working. She didn't like you being a bouncer.
Oh yeah.
That bothered her to the point where you guys realized you weren't for each other anymore.
It was a threat to her, that environment,
that lifestyle,
and because that's what I did before. When I left her for a year, I was bouncing at a nightclub in New York and dating college girls. And actually I got one pregnant.
Okay.
And that may have a lot to do with it too, because when I got
kind
back
of a
to
womanizer. You're kind of a womanizer. You're a good-looking guy. It's not hard for you to pick up women. So that wasn't, so I'm sure her insecurity probably led to some of that.
Well, I just left her because of the abuse.
Okay.
And I would have stayed with her. But she had a lot of issues. We tried to correct her by going to church and, doing things together. But I think, I think there was not a lot of self-reflecting. We didn't actually go to church, and try to work on her relationship.
Did you ever cheat on her?
And not when I was with her. No.
Okay.
No, she thought I did.
Yeah.
That night.
The night when she cut your penis off.
Well, she thought I was having an affair with some Asian girl that hit me on my bicycle. So I got hit.
Wait a second, you got hit last on your bicycle?
And I got hit, yeah. Some Asian girl hit me on my bicycle on a wedding anniversary, Friday morning, and that was the same day the nightclub was opening. So she hit me on my bicycle, and the ambulance showed up, and I shrugged it off, but the bike was gone, and it was done. So she brought me to her house, and her mother and her, put the ointment on me, like aloe vera plant on my wounds, and she took me to work and picked me up. And I said, well, she said, you can use my bike until I get you a new one. I'll get you a new one. And that was on Friday. So she took me home, and I had this white, girl's 10-speed with flowers on it. I was like, I'm not gonna ride this. So I put it on the patio, and that was sitting there in our apartment all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, until she came over to give me a new bike on Monday. Lorraine was off work Sunday and Monday when my friend arrived that morning. I told her I wanted a divorce, and the Asian girl showed up on Monday with a new bike. So she was in the parking lot, and hug me and say, hey, here's a new bike, and ride her around, and, get her bike, put it in her trunk. And so she invited me and my friend to a party. And Lorena's up there in the park. Lorena's up on the balcony. She could see all this, and I already broke up with her.
Right.
And she probably assumed this was a new girl that I just met, a new girl.
Just ironic that it happened.
She didn't know who she was. We weren't talking. She was giving me the silent treatment. If she wasn't giving me silent treatment, we were talking, she would have known. Oh, you got hit by this girl.
Right.
I wasn't at the Holiday Inn all night. I was at Denny's. She assumed that because when I was sleeping, she asked me where I was. I said, like, well, what was the first place we went to? I said, Denny's. Oh no, I told her the Holiday Inn. That's all I said. So I think that was the trigger.
Sure.
That did it.
Well, why else would you be at the Holiday Inn for a room?
But we went there. We went there.
But at this point, you're not together anyways. You're on your way out. You told her, hey, I want a divorce. I want out. We're separating. We're parting ways. And she didn't want to accept that.
No, she didn't want to accept that. But, and she wanted my friend to leave, and she wanted to stay married. But anyways, we went to...
Did she ever get violent with you? Like, did she ever...
Yeah, she punched me in the face.
She punched you in the face?
Yeah.
Did it happen a lot?
Yeah, if a pretty girl was nearby, she punched me in the face.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at her. She did.
Did you make a point
She
to
thought
her
he
then
did.
to say, hey, listen, you got some issues here?
Yeah,
You need to deal with these?
There are a lot of red flags I ignored, but when I was a tough Marine, I just took the abuse.
Sure.
She
Well,
was
you know
abusive.
what? It's kind of funny.
She beat up
because,
her mother.
you think about this. Women sometimes can get away with that. Women can beat up on guys, and the guy is supposed to be a man. You take it. But as soon as a guy raises his hand at a woman, don't even have to smack a woman. Just raise your hand. It's over. That shouldn't happen.
Back when our grandfathers and grandmothers and back in the old days, it was the frying pan or rolling pin.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, damn. Woke up on the floor with a concussion, a lump on my head.
Right.
It's like,
I bet you would have rather woke up with a concussion and a bump on your head than woke up without a damn penis.
Right.
I'm still trying to something. Cutting off you're sleeping. This woman comes in, pulls the covers off of you. I'm guessing you're naked because I'm going to probably sleep with clothes on every single day of my life now, moving forward, just thinking about this.
Sleep on
you know what I'm saying? But, that had to have been fast. It had to happen pretty quick.
I would sleep on your stomach.
Sleep on your stomach. It had to happen pretty quick.
So I roll you over.
Yeah. So, she comes in. Did it wake you up immediately? Did you
Yeah. She came. Her testimony is that she asked me where I was, and I said the Holiday Inn. And then I guess she went to the kitchen and got a glass of water, and she said there was a light shone down the kitchen, knives, whatever. And she picked up the knife, went back in the bedroom, and sat next to me and said, "You hurt my feelings. You did it again and again and again." She's referring to the abandonment. It's the third time I leave her, which is painful.
Sure.
And then I didn't respond. I didn't hear what she said. There's no, and she got mad and pulled it up and cut it off the base.
Did you see the knife? Were you expecting that?
No, I was sleeping.
No, you're sleeping.
I was sleeping. I was just trying to sleep. That's all I was trying to do. There have been some.
So you wake up in this pain? Are you bleeding? What?
Well, the thing is, there was some sexual play, while we were sleeping, because we were sleeping together. We were still having sex, but she just wasn't talking to me. And she still wanted to have sex.
Right. So you had sex that night.
Yeah.
So you had sex before she cut it off.
No. I tried to have sex with her.
Okay.
But it was just a brief encounter, sexual encounter, and it wasn't enough for her. And so one of the first questions that the police asked her was, "Well, why'd you do it?" And she said, "He had an orgasm, and I didn't. He's selfish and greedy, so I pulled back the sheets and I cut him." Yeah, she didn't have an orgasm. That's the reason.
Damn.
So you got to give your girl what she wants.
Make a note to that, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Make a note to that.
So.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So, just from what I read, obviously, she took your private part, drove down the road with it, and then threw it out the window.
Yep.
Tried to hide it, just throw it away.
Well,
and
after she attacked me and ran out the door, there's a new movie coming out. Well, it's like a sequel of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
New movie coming out.
Okay.
Well, back then it was big. Mm-hmm. Johnny Depp played it. What was his name? Glenn?
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah.
And he was in bed. Freddy Krueger pulled him down, a knife, blood everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. I thought Freddy Krueger did it. Well, it was either Jason or Freddy Krueger. I was like, oh, it was Freddy Krueger.
Right.
I was like, Freddy Krueger did it. Because it's big, and I was like, well, shoot, how'd this happen?
Right.
And I automatically thought, okay, it had to be Freddy because I was sleeping. I was like, oh, no. I told my friend Robbie, make sure I don't fall asleep.
Right.
I told him that.
Yeah.
It's like, we got to get me to the hospital. And then they figured out, okay, well, it had to be Lorena. And blood was everywhere, squirting all over the place. And he had a 1967 Ford Mustang Coupe. It was a nice car. He just built it. Well, he was an engineer, and his father was a mechanic, so they rebuilt cars, totally restored them, and this had a 400 horse
Right.
power engine in it.
Yeah.
So get me in the hospital. And it just got to the hospital within 10 minutes. They, put towels on me, and then the doctor came in. They put a tourniquet. And said, "Well, we're gonna have to close you up, and you had to sit down to go to the bathroom." I was like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like looking around, looking for something to self-terminate. No. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you got to, you had to, like, was the thought of, you dying at that point in time ever came on the way to the hospital or any of that?
Like, blood loss.
Yeah, were you afraid that, this is why I'm going out? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I lost over 2/3 of my blood by the time I got to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. I don't think she understand what she did.
Clearly.
So
Clearly, it was out of anger and hate, obviously.
Yeah.
Somebody just doesn't do that.
Later on, it was like a lot of remorse. Well, she was remorseful because she's like, "Oh, I made a mistake. He wasn't having an affair. He was at Denny's."
Right.
She didn't get that
Too
till
late.
later.
Too late now.
Uh-oh. He was at Denny's.
So now you're in the hospital and they're telling you, "Hey, we don't have a
Not
penis
telling
to put on you, so we're going to close you up, and now we're going to have to give you a slice to urinate."
Yeah, it's just close you up. Then.
And now you're no longer going to have sex. None of that.
I'm thinking suicide.
Yeah, I bet.
I think that's what she wanted. She wanted. It's okay. I can't kill him, but maybe he'll kill himself. It's like almost. I could have. Probably would have, or would have died, and I wouldn't be able to speak. I wouldn't be speaking here today and telling you all the details that
right.
That I was silenced back then. I didn't speak up and tell all these details but it's all in black and white. It's in the transcripts. So,
sure.
So I had to go back into court and get my transcripts. I got them in 2013, and then Lorena's her files were misplaced, and they didn't know where they were. So some lady called me, emailed me, and said, "Well, I found those files you were looking for." And that was in December.
Yeah.
And I signed up with Glass Entertainment. That was a production company, and that was in September. I didn't have much to give them at the time, so I had to cancel that and signed up with a new production company.
Yeah.
Fair Fame Productions.
Gotcha.
Fair Fame Productions.
Yeah. Fair Fame. Yeah. The good ones.
So now I got the material. I got it all.
So you're gonna end up doing this whole documentary.
It's really interesting once you read it. Once you go over it, and it made it really easy to read. I mean, it needs still to be.
So you're going to have a movie about this.
You're
going to have a movie. You're going to bring this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
But
you know what?
Think about this girl Heather. She makes make a good Lorena, and I looking at Zac Efron.
Yeah.
As being a John Wayne Bobbitt Marine.
There you go. Zac
Efron.
Sure.
And get it all scripted out. It's a good movie, man.
Be a great movie. I'm still trying to think. You're in the hospital though. I'm sitting here. My heart's in my stomach. You're in the hospital. The doctor's going to sew you up. How does your penis arrive? Well,
it's the first time in history that a man arrived at the hospital in 2 separate cars.
Yeah. I mean, so the cops ended up finding it.
Yep. They found it. They had a hard time. One of the cops were sitting on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right here. They get a truck. Going to crane it onto a flatbed.
What? You're funny. Yeah, come on. We saw the pictures. The pictures are in there. Come on, man.
Yeah.
No, but so cop finds this in the road, side of the road. She throws it in the side of the road. He picks it up. He puts it in a hot dog box. Is that true?
I'm not sure.
I'm just curious. Did it arrive at the hospital in the 7-Eleven hot dog box?
There was skepticism. No, there was an ambulance.
Or was that just a joke? Like Howard Stern put that out there. Was it just a joke, or did that really happen?
What really happened was she was sitting on the side of the road for a while. She was contemplating on throwing out my junk. Mm-hmm. You want to know why it took her so long?
Why?
She didn't have the balls.
Oh, you're stupid. I bet you got a ton of material from this now. It's good that you can laugh at it. It's back on, though, right? Is it back on?
Yeah.
Everything's working fine now? No, I don't need to see it. I'm good. I'll take your word for it. In fact, wait a second. You actually did some porn star movies. Did you not?
Yeah, I was told that there was.
Is that why you did that? Wait, this totally makes sense now. So let me guess. You did that just so people could know that you actually do work.
It was just a novelty. I just did it because people said you should prove your point. So okay, good idea. Let's prove my point.
So that's why. So you say, hey, it still works and everything goes well.
Well, I was just basically telling Lorraine, hey, well, because she wanted to hurt me the worst possible way she could, and I was basically saying, nah. Because I said this on a show with her one time.
Well, you turned it around. You took a negative and made it a positive.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what it is about taking a negative and making it a positive. Right?
That's right, baby. That's right. So, we're supposed to say stay positive all the time.
Yeah. Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
That's right.
What's the name? Valvano.
Yeah.
Jimmy Valvano.
But
Jimmy V Award.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? That's a Rocky motive too. You got the shirt right on.
Yeah.
Rocky, the underdog, man.
Underdog, yeah.
That's it.
Comes out on top.
Yeah. Can still come out on top. Just got to believe a little bit.
Yeah. This is all about the truth. Truth is the antidote to chaos. So I'm trying to bring the truth to light, which was buried for 32 years now.
Right.
So, it's important.
Does it feel good to be able to put it out there now and talk? Obviously, you joke a lot about it because, what else can you do?
Well, it started with my family. I have a big family. Like John, you got.
Yeah.
So mine's Polish.
Yeah, Polish
jokes.
All right.
So, my dad said the first joke because I was in ICU. And they were just getting sewn up and stuff, and I was all sewn up. And then I just woke up. And my dad was there. Son, don't worry. Look at it this way. At least you got a built-in French tickler.
Your dad too.
He said that.
There you go. He's trying to make light of it.
Then my brother comes up and says, I just got you one sock. You got a cock sock. And then Playboy magazine. Hope it don't blow. A lot of jokes, man. And then did the Howard Stern, did his stuff. We did a pay-per-view special. It's like 50 naked girls doing a contest.
Sure.
And then the celebrity panel. It was fun. And a lot of jokes on that. You should see that. It's freaking hilarious.
So how's it like with girls? Is it easier now to pick up? Like women want to get with you because they want to check it all out and be like, hey, I'm the one that, I got to get with John Bobbitt.
Well, back then, yeah, it was girls that throw themselves at me back then. It's like, well, it's like, but I'm
the man with the penis cut off, but it's back on.
When you get older and wiser, like you just want to save yourself from somebody having a serious relationship.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing. Looking.
Are you worried though? Are you worried about not being able to please the next woman and then she cuts it off again? Like, do you ever think about that?
Well, yeah. Women can be pretty dangerous, yeah. But it's just I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah. You got to look at your life though. You've had a lot of things that have gone. Your toes for one thing. You've gotten to a situation with that as well.
Prior.
That was prior to the.
That was actually a year before I met Lorena.
Okay.
So I was exposed, and that's probably another reason why.
So you lost all your toes prior to her cutting off your penis.
Yeah. No. The exposure.
Gotcha.
Chemical exposure. So the chemicals get in your body. Your body can't break it down.
Tell about that. What exactly happened with that?
Well, Aaron Brockovich got involved in 2010, but I think people who were stationed at the base between 1953 and 1987, they were exposed to dangerous chemicals. There was like 70 chemicals in drinking water, but there was 4 of them were dangerous. They're called VOCs, volatile organic compounds, and it's tetrachloroethylene, trichloroethylene, benzene, and vinyl chloride. So you're drinking this stuff. The Army of Engineers and the EPA, they went in there to test the water. So your water can't be contaminated above 0.5 parts per billion. And when they tested the water there, Camp Lejeune, it was up to 3,500 times above normal safety standards. It's how toxic the water was.
Wow.
And it's sad. It's sad that the people who drank that water ended up getting seriously ill, cancers, and end up dying. And there's tragic stories.
Right.
Tragic stories of people who suffered.
So you actually consider yourself lucky then.
Then Eric Brock would come in, there were team lawyers and all that stuff. No. And then I was at the White House when Biden signed the PACT Act bill in 22. And because his son, Beau Biden, died of brain cancer because he was exposed to burn pits, when he was in the Iraqi war. So burn pits, Ancient Orange, Vietnam, contaminated water. So the PACT Act bill, covers anybody who was exposed. So I got a team of lawyers working on that. So to be compensated soon. So
good. But again, you consider yourself lucky then.
And then I go to 30, 30, 40.
Yeah, yes.
30, 30, 40, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Then I'll go that route.
Yeah.
So I got a lot going on, man. Whew.
Hi, I'm Phil Benamino, CEO and founder of Cost Plus Processing, the company that provides financial services to your business. We provide things such as POS systems, ATM machines, and check services. One of the biggest things that we strive ourselves here at Cost Plus Processing is our customer service. We are an A+ rated with the BBB with customer service, and we're proud to say we're here in the United States with all of our customer service agents. Our objective is to actually teach you and educate you about the costs that you're currently paying and show you ways where you can eliminate those costs that you no longer have to pay. One of the biggest programs that are out there today is our dual pricing program, where you actually can offer your customers now a choice of how they want to pay. Do they want to pay with cash or do they want to pay with card? And if they pay with card, it actually helps you to absorb the card fees, so you no longer have to pay the fees like you've done for many, many years. Cost Plus Processing aligns ourselves with some of the top POS companies out there in the industry today. For example, we have perfected the car dealership industry, and our dedicated team are equipped to manage a variety of online payment forms and financing options that merchants require in this advanced ecosystem of payments. If you have a restaurant, we are proud to be able to manage the ongoing difficulties that arise from this fast-paced industry, and you're looking for pay at the table, where customers can easily swipe their cards, tap their cards, and make their payments with tip, and also have a choice of how they want to pay, we have the solutions for you here at Cost Plus. We want to help other small business owners make their dreams come true by providing the best financial support. From barbershops to liquor stores, having the ability to take payments scheduled online and make calculating tip sharing an easy task only helps business owners put more attention and money into what really matters the most. Also, Cost Plus Processing is on the front end of AI. We can also provide you kiosks for your business, so customers can walk over to the kiosk and order anything that they want. Likewise, if you're having problem getting employees in the kitchen to work, we can also provide you robots that will actually deliver your food straight to the customer. I want to thank you for the time that you took to learn a little bit about Cost Plus Processing, and most importantly, why we are the future of merchant processing. So, John, when you look back at your life and you look back at your relationships and stuff, obviously all these things have happened, okay, that you've turned and made a positive thing out of, what would you tell, viewers today? What would you tell younger people, that are hearing about your story, how they can utilize some of the knowledge of what not to do and what to do when it comes to relationships,
Oh, relationships.
Because you've had a bunch of them, you've had a lot of different relationships. You've been around with a lot of women, whether they're porn stars, whether you were married, whether you were in the Marines and with different women and stuff. You've been exposed after the fact too, got an opportunity to do a lot of cool things, but I know inside you always say, hey, I need to be heard, and not everybody knows the truth behind John Bobbitt.
Yeah. Like you want a good relationship. You're married now?
Yeah, I'm actually divorced.
Oh.
Yeah, I was married 24 years. Divorced now, yeah.
So, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Red flags. I mean, study psychology. I would say narcissism, and it's hard. It's hard to find a good traditional woman now. I mean, there's a lot of you listen to what's her name, Pearl Davis. She has a podcaster, and she talks about the modern day woman compared to the traditional woman. Traditional women are properly raised by their parents and grandparents, and they have good structure, and they're proper. They're decent ladies that know how to be a woman. But the modern day women, that they're broken home, abused, damaged, so and they talk about this. So does Jordan Peterson. He talks about the psychology of the woman. Red flags. What a good woman is, what a bad woman is. So you got to be selective. And I think in the old days, what's the matchmaker, the fiddle on the roof.
Yeah.
They had older people, the elderly people. They would match you up with the correct person. The perfect match.
Right.
And that's then we're left to ourselves to figure out who we can match up with, which is chemistry.
Right. Do you think it's easier or harder
connection,
that way? Being matched with somebody, because I always wondered that too.
Because we're all looking for the perfect match, women and men.
Yeah.
And we're all
but when if you got
match.
your parents, or you got a group of people telling you, hey, this is going to be your wife, or this is going to be your husband.
Yeah.
When
you want to be able to pair bond.
Yeah.
Pair bonding. So when you find your match and she finds her match, you pair bond. You know what I mean? Through lovemaking.
Right.
You you create that connection, that intimate connection, to pair bonding, and then you're with each other for life. Mm-hmm. And a lot of animals, they pair bond.
Right.
And they stay with each other for their whole lives.
Right.
And have family and but we got a lot of temptation out there, outside interference that can disrupt that. Mm-hmm. So you got to stay away from that. In the Bible it talks about temptation and stuff like that, fornication. So I've been through my early stages in life, and which is okay for guys, but then girls, it's kind of different because the body count and all that, and it's like, well, I got to keep myself pure, and for my, my perfect match. Mm-hmm. So I think it could be the same thing to guys who, because I haven't been with anybody for a long time. So, just, waiting for the right one to come along.
Yeah. You get any regrets?
Regrets. I have a few. That sounds like a Elvis Presley song. Regrets. I have a few. Regrets.
I mean, looking back at what you went through and all the trauma. I mean, yeah, you laugh about it now, you joke about it now, but it wasn't funny when it happened. Let's be honest.
Regrets, not knowing as much as I know now. Back then, because I wouldn't been through wouldn't have gone through all this. But I think
but
I grew up with five brothers.
But going through stuff like this is really what identifies you.
You got to teach your kids.
You got
to teach your kids what they need to know. What to watch out for. It's good to have sit down heart to heart talks with your kids, because I didn't have much of that growing up. So you're saying regrets as far as
just looking back at your relationship, even with your your ex-wife, could you have prevented going through some of the things that you went through? Looking at those things, do you wish you never had your thing cut off? Because sometimes when people go through scars like that in life, at the time they wish it never happened, but then when they look back, they're like, I wouldn't change it because it's what made me. I'll give you an example. Myself, I fought. Obviously, I, fighting for my daughter. My first child was out of wedlock. Visited every jail in the state of Georgia, fighting for custody of her. Real hard from a guy being from New York to come down south and get custody of his child, especially during the O.J. Simpson time, where all a woman had to do was just say, boom, he put a gun to my head or threatened me. All they had to do was hear it. They didn't know proof of it, and you're getting locked up for 4 days automatically before you talk to a judge. And during those times, being, constantly every weekend, boom, you feel it, boom, got a warrant for your arrest. I'm innocent. Tell it to the judge, you type of thing. You're guilty till proven innocent, and you go through those. And at the time, it was like you get so frustrated, and you're just like, I want out. Like, if this is the way life is going to be, I'm going to go through this shit every weekend. Then what good's living? Type of feelings. But looking back, it's like I'm kind of glad I went through all those times. Now I didn't know it then, but knowing it now, it's kind of what made me who I am today. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be half the man that I am today if I hadn't gone through those things. So
because you learn from it. Yeah.
Because you learn from it, absolutely. So and you sit there and say, yeah, I guess God did have a purpose. God did have a reason. Do you feel like? I mean, I don't think there's another guy that ever has his penis cut off. Is there? I have to Google that. We'll have to Google that one, man, and check that one out. I don't know if anybody's ever.
Well, I researched pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
And there's
so it has happened before.
Yeah, well, first time was in 1907, It was Bertha Baranda. She cut off her husband's Frank's Baranda. He was a fire chief in San Jose, California, and he was involved in some sort of election fraud or something, and he was going to move to Mexico, and he was having an affair, and his wife Baranda found out about it, and she cut off his penis with a straight razor in 1907.
So it has happened.
Yeah, she dressed up in his clothes and tried to ride out of town on a bicycle, with those old bicycles, the big wheel.
So she planned it all out.
The cops caught up with her, and they put her in prison for 5 years for mayhem. It was called Bertha Baranda. Yeah. That's one of the first cases reported.
Did he got his put back on? Is his working? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, do you ever think about if they didn't find it, what life would be like today for you?
So I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know, if a girl poisons a guy, kills a guy, her husband, or whatever, like the burning bed. No, Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah.
Remember that story? Yeah. I think he died because she burned him. Put gasoline around the bed, lit a match, and left with the kids. 13 years of marriage and 3 kids. I guess he's out womanizing and having affairs, and she got tired of it, and boom. Then later on, he's dead. So she says, "Oh, he abused me," and got away with it.
Right.
So, yeah. And there's a lot of cases. Like there's one 2013 case. This one lady poisoned her husband. Put something in his dinner and it made him sick and went to bed. She tied him up, spread eagle, legs and hands tied, and cut his penis off, put it in a garbage disposal. That was in 2013. Catherine Becker, Caillou Becker, and she got sentenced to 17 to life. But he lost his. He was put in the meat grinder.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big case there. That's 2013. Yeah, because he was, I think he filed for divorce and reestablished a relationship with his ex-wife, and she found out about it. Hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned.
Yeah.
Rejection, abandonment, and infidelity and neglect. Rejection, abandonment, infidelity, and neglect. Painful rain. That's what I call it. I mean, deep-seated emotional pain. In all these tragic situations. You want to figure out true crime. Those high-profile cases. We can be like detectives. We both, we become private dicks.
Right.
And solve these cases. Like, the jury didn't figure out. The prosecutors couldn't figure it out. Let me go in there and see. Well, let me get all the variables and
the details.
Figure out all the details, and facts, and evidence, and figure it out. But I think it's good to have a good psychiatrist involved and can really break it all down and analyze the whole thing. You figure out what the trigger is, and what causes it. That's the main thing, is figure out what the trigger was.
Right. So, how's your relationship today with your ex? Do you guys talk at all?
Nope.
You guys you're not allowed to, or have you ever thought about trying to mend?
If I talk to her, if I try to talk to her, it would be narcissistic supply.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, see, he's abusive.
Yeah, but through counseling and stuff, do you think people can change? Do you feel like her being put in the situation she is? Do you think she could heal and maybe change? And
she would have to admit what she did.
Sure.
And apologize.
Right. And what if she did? What if she came to you and she wanted that opportunity?
Well, I can give her an ultimatum.
Yeah.
I can take my files and go to the authorities. So, well, it's got to be reinvestigated. So Pam Bondi and Cash Patel will say, well, yeah, and they'll sign a FBI team, FBI to the case, and have it reinvestigated. Then we have to bring her back to court and try her for new charges under new evidence. Because she was only charged with malicious wounding. That was the least charge that they gave her, the prosecutors, because he wanted to leave the door open in case later on they had to recharge her, which would be aggravated malicious wounding, assault with a deadly weapon, and attempted murder, perjury, all kinds of. So she would have to come back in court, and I would have all the evidence, and she'd be convicted.
Right. Do you want that?
She was my wife.
I mean, at
so
this point in stage, and after you've been through this for a while now, is that something that you want? Is that something you're seeking?
I just want the truth out because the releasing the JF Kennedy files and the Martin Luther King, all those files, so that people know the truth about it all. I think there's like 88,000 files. To go back and look in. If you're interested in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I think the reality is this: the truth is, she did it. She cut it off. We all know what happened. We know that you're the guy that had to put it back together, and you had to live life differently because of it all. And there's no denying that. Like, there's nothing more you can do about that. Now, as far as her serving her time for the crime and all the neglect and everything else, I mean, obviously it changed your whole life. And like I said, I'm sure you have PTSD. Shoot, I might have PTSD now, from it all, type of thing, just because you don't think about these things. You don't think about what is it like. I can only imagine being in a hospital at that moment when he said, we're going to sew you up. And, you don't think about those things.
It was horrific.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Something out of a horror movie, like you said, Krueger, Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. But it's not but it's not a horror movie. It's a real life movie.
So it's about turn the negative into positive, and I did a lot of things, and then I did a show with Lorena, first time ever I talked to her. It was called The Insider, and the interview was trying to get me to talk to her. I was kind of nervous. I didn't
know what to say.
So she said, "Well, you tell Lorena what you told me," and I looked at her and said, "You almost killed me." And she said, "I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember doing it." And I said, "Don't worry, it was just a scratch." She had this disdain.
You're making light of it all.
She had this disdain look on her face. She was like really angry look, like she didn't hurt me. Because I hurt her badly. Right. But I didn't know it.
Right. But that's a mental problem.
Deep-seated emotional pain. Because so once I said I'm leaving, that hurt. Mm-hmm. I mean, she cried, but I wasn't being emotionally available.
Sure. Well, I think emotional scars hurt worse than physical ones.
I mean, if I would have said Denny's instead of Holiday Inn, we'd probably still be married.
Yeah. Which probably wouldn't have been a good thing either.
Well, I mean, narcissists can change, but it takes a lot of self-reflection, and anybody can change.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You can change.
That's right.
I can change.
Rocky IV, baby. We all can change.
We all can change. Yeah.
That's it for sure.
Anybody can change and become a better person, just like I said, strengthen your soul, learn to love deeply.
So listen, if she did change and she wanted the opportunity to tell you, I'm sorry for what happened. I regret it. I have this remorse built in, and I just want to clear my conscience. Could you accept that?
Yeah. Yeah. The greatest that's... I say a lot of people criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. But it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving.
Right.
So I mean, I understand why she did it, because she thought I was leaving her, and she was heartbroken.
Right. You forgive her?
But
do you forgive her for that?
Yeah. First thing to realize is that there's a reason. Once you figure out what the reason is okay, well, you can forgive because she hurt me physically. Right. But I recovered because I'm a Marine. Yeah. Yeah.
He said, you recovered because it wasn't your time.
Rejuvenation, So I got to heal from all this stuff. So that's a different process, because of chemical damage. Mm-hmm. And that was hell, going through all this for 10 years and out of the hospital, with treatments and surgeries. That was hell.
So when did you finally say you're going to take the toes off?
The 2022 in Vegas, because I lived in Vegas for like 25 years.
Oh yeah, nice. Love Vegas.
Yeah,
I love Vegas. Yeah, second home.
Yeah,
enjoy Vegas. I'll be there. I'm leaving in a few days.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
My buddy has a real estate. He's a broker. It's called the Love Group. His name's Tommy Love.
The Love Group.
So he sells luxury homes.
Okay. I didn't know he did the Love Cloud.
Huh?
I didn't know if he did the Love Cloud. That's where you get in the airplane and boom, you get the Mile High Club.
Yeah. The Love Cloud.
Yeah, that's what it's called. How about kids? You got kids, right?
Yeah, that was when I was separated from Lorena. I was up in New York, working bouncing at the nightclub there, and working construction. Actually, I fell off Jim Kelly's house. So we were putting up 100 foot of gutter on Jim Kelly,
Uh-huh.
Buffalo Bills
Oh, yeah, quarterback.
12. So
All
Saturday
famer.
morning we're up there, and we were building. Just built this house. And we were putting gutter up there, and up on the roof. The second story. And it was Saturday morning. It was kind of a little misty, and I just lost my footing and slid off the roof and took both guys out off the 12-foot ladders.
Man.
But
You're a Marine, so you survived.
Yeah,
you bounced.
The ground was soft. It was muddy because it was a new construction. So
Right.
Good thing. It's like I'm not doing this anymore.
You're in Buffalo. I'm sure it was muddy and cold.
Yeah. It's like okay, well, nailing up gutter, 100 foot of gutter.
So you had a child, girl, boy.
Yeah. So she's Native American, and boy, kind of looks like me, black belt in karate and martial arts, and graduated with honors. Smart kid.
Yeah.
Girls chase him.
How's he feel about all this stuff?
Good looking kid.
Because I'm sure a lot of this, he hears a lot of it from his friends and people, and
yeah, I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I never really talked to him. Never talked to him, but someday try to get to know him.
Yeah, gotcha. So it's not one you have a relationship with right now.
No, it's a girl I met. Went to a hotel on my birthday. We dated a little bit. It wasn't serious, but apparently she got pregnant, and I'd already moved back to reconcile with Lorena. So my brother, she would call. My mother talked me into going back to her. So she was looking for me because she was pregnant. If she called Lorena and said, "Hey, I'm, John's, girlfriend or whatever, I'm pregnant," and she found out about that because Lorena was trying to get pregnant, and she had an abortion. And
you think
she probably could have been mad about that.
God, you got me thinking, man. You think she would have went and sliced her up too? Took the baby or something?
No. She's fine. She was in New York when she called.
Yeah.
If she would have called Lorena and looking for me,
right?
Lorena would have got, "Hey, I'm pregnant with John's baby,"
Mm-hmm.
and that would probably just really infuriated Lorena.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that could have been another reason. What amount? The Asian girl that hit me on my bicycle, me working at the nightclub, my best friend coming over because she was giving me the silent treatment. I said, "Oh, I wanted a divorce." So a lot of things that led up to why she did what she did.
Right.
But I wasn't really I was just saying I was going to leave her because she was giving me the silent treatment. I was like, what kind of relationship can we have when you don't have a communication? You have to have communication.
Communication definitely helps, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, without it, you're right. You don't. I always tell. I've had this conversation. I'm a horrible mind reader. You know what I mean? I'm a horrible mind reader. I can't help you what I don't know.
Yeah, that's what girls want you to do. You want to be able to tell them what they're feeling and thinking and what they need and wants are without them actually saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Do
you feel like that's the reason why sometimes you wandered off and you went and started dipping into other relationships and other women looking for that?
Yeah.
A lot of people, because I think and I'm just, I don't want to speak for you, but, I think a lot of women these days think that, it's a lust thing. Maybe it's a physical attraction, but it's really more of an emotional attraction first.
We have to learn how to be emotionally
as far as
available.
men.
We have emotionally available. When I was a Marine, we're not, that's taken away from us.
Yeah.
That's why, military soldiers and police officers have to go through sensitivity training, as they're retiring, getting out. And then they should go through sensitivity training anyways, so they're able to be there emotionally.
Right.
And so it's like, "Oh, Phil, you feeling all right?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You feel okay?
I feel all right. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Right.
That's the way you're trying to connect with somebody emotionally. It's like, well, you know something's wrong if you tune into that person.
Right.
That's care and consideration, respect. It's like, well, what do you need?
Sure.
And I think we had that a long time ago, but got to bring it back, and that's part of love.
Yeah.
Respect is tuning into.
Did you love her?
But women have a better. Women are lot better than us because they're nurturers.
Right. Did you love your wife?
Yeah.
Do you still love her?
Well, I loved the woman she was when I first met her.
Yeah. So
I like the woman she became.
So if she could change and, prove that to you, is that something that you would ever open that door up again?
I don't think she's ever changed.
I'm saying if she did. Because
if she's a narcissist and I try to talk to her, she'll use that against me. If I try to connect with her in any way, she'll use it against me. It's called narcissistic supply.
Sure.
So, you suggest Gray Rock. You know what Gray Rock is?
No, go ahead.
Gray Rock is you go no contact. You distance yourself, go no contact, because they'll use anything that you say or do against you, and they're out to destroy you any way they can.
Yeah.
A severe, like a really bad narcissist. I mean, there's grandiose, overt, covert, malignant, cerebral narcissist. Those are dangerous ones, but they'll do anything they can to destroy you. But if you distance yourself, go no contact, they don't have any supply.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give them supply, they'll use anything.
Right.
And that's what they use in the court trials. Anything that I said or did or anything, they use it against me.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be careful these days.
Got to spin it.
Yeah.
Got to turn the positive into a negative so we win this case.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. So, what's next for John Bobbitt? I know you're doing. You're going to do a documentary. You're gonna do the film and stuff. What is your next goals? Like you obviously have goals in your life. You're pretty goal driven. You've done some cool things. But like, what do you have? What do you have ahead of you?
Protecting the world. It's. I want my case to be educational, and so people learn from it. Say, well, this is what you got to watch out for. These dangerous people. So you study psychology, you can learn a lot about through like I learned a lot my stuff through Jordan Peterson, Dr. Romani, Pearl Davis, a lot of these YouTube videos. Jay Shetty. Have you know Jay Shetty?
No, never heard of Jay.
Yeah, they're really good. Jay Shetty's a monk, and he's really into like discipline.
Gotcha.
Dr. Jordan Peterson is he's a well-renowned psychologist. He wrote a book called The 12 Rules of Life and the Antidote to Chaos. So he's real big. He's on a lot of podcasts, Joe Rogan's, and and he interviews the president and congressmen, and he's really big. So you learn a lot from him. He helped a lot of clients, with their lives and changed their lives.
Yeah.
Being a professional clinical psychologist.
Right.
It's out of Toronto, but you learn a lot, about the more you learn about psychology of the human mind, and the more you can protect yourself, because you see when you run into, you can okay, well, this guy's seems like he's not all there, it's not right, or something wrong with, it's just ulterior motives. Ulterior motives, because it's all about them, and you want to have a healthy relationship. Persons that knows how to love, has care and respect, and that's raised properly, likes to go to church, likes to learn, likes to communicate. So, and it's hard to find a person like that, and it's distractions, the phone, the games, the gambling, the drugs, the addictions, and that's the thing with people who are addicted. the love is for the addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you want to get rid of all that. You know, that inhibits your ability to truly love, because love is for the addiction.
Yeah.
You don't want that. So
when you say love is for the addiction, explain that to me.
So if you
just trying to understand your perspective here. I mean, obviously,
the
having a
addiction
healthy
comes first.
relationship is what you want, but how is love?
So
the
we're
addiction?
good friends, right?
Yeah.
And I'm addicted to, drugs.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to come first before you,
Right.
and it shouldn't.
Right.
You should come first. A family, friends, your wife, your husband. That should always come first.
100%. 100%.
And and having a healthy relationship. But if you have, an addiction that can,
So that makes sense. Love should be the addiction.
Yeah. Love shouldn't be. Yeah. No, yeah. Can't be. Best thing to do is get rid of the addiction.
Right.
Overcome your addictions.
Right.
And because.
Well, I think everybody has addictions, but I think if you choose a positive addiction, you turn it around. You know what I mean? That's the only way to do it.
You can probably gamble for fun, and not.
Well, you don't need to be gambling to be your addiction.
Addicted to it.
Right. You need your gambling not to be the addiction. You need, like some people are addicted to food, people that are heavy, overweight. Mm-hmm. You don't want a food addiction.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people are addicted to certain things. But if you turn the addiction to a positive thing, be addicted to work. Be addicted to making money. Be addicted to helping others. Right. You know what I'm saying? Do those types of things.
Well, everything should be done in moderation too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's be responsible. And think, yeah.
So, John, before we go, tell the viewers anything you want to say.
My best advice would be, it's a quote from Samuel Hahnemann: "The greatest discovery in any generation is that people can alter their lives by altering the attitudes of their minds." You alter your attitude, you change your life. You become anything you want to become. Do anything you want to do. Turn a negative into a positive. Make your life better. Self-reflect. Self-improve. All by just changing your attitude.
Awesome. And there you have it, folks. You heard it from John Bobbitt himself. And as your boy Wham Bam always says, if your life was a movie, would it be worth watching? And if the answer is no, then stop being ordinary and start being extraordinary. Till next Wednesday, baby, stay positive and keep testing negative. I'm your host, Wham Bam, and I'm out.